Hey guys, boy, this is my live Facebook day, and it's night, and it's cold, and it's rainy, yuck, but what else is new in Washington, right, but I am painting, so all is well, is good, because I am in my happy place. Literally you can't see it, but my pegboard in my shop says, this is our happy place, so. Anyway, so here's the deal. I posted a tutorial earlier today on how to stain wood, and it got deleted, and I don't know what happened to it, so I'm going to redo it. And I had another part 2 of the tutorial that was on how to do the chalk paint portion, which I just got done filming, and I will also add it to this page. So you can watch it in different segments and not have to watch the whole big long thing. So I'm going to go back over what I did on the staining portion. So hopefully that helps. If you are joining us live, please let me know you are here by saying hello. And if you have questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them as well. So I hope you're on and we are live. And if not, try again, like all things in life, right? Okay, here we go. So this is a coffee table that I'm doing for a client, and she wanted to do a stain on the top and paint on the bottom, chalk paint on the bottom. So if you want to know how to do the chalk paint, like I said, look for my post later this evening on that, how to do that. So on the staining portion, let's talk about prep. You have to sand, and you're going to want to take off what was on there before. And most pieces of furniture have their stain on it and a coat or 2 or 3 or 4 of lacquer or some top coat like polyurethane, etc. So you're going to have to take that off. Now, a lot of people try to use chemical strippers, which is fine. Some are, I find, don't work very well, and the ones that are gonna really do the job are very toxic. And I don't like to use it because it's bad for your health, it's bad for the environment, and I much rather put a little bit of elbow grease into it with a sander. So there are different kinds of sanders you can use. There's an orbital sander, which is what I use, and that looks like this. This is an orbital sander because it's got an orbit, just like the moon, and it does, it sands in a, what's the word I'm looking for? Word finding. In a random pattern, thank you. And I love Ryobi tools, and the sandpaper just sticks on. Hi, Allie, how are you? You always join my podcast, my lives. Nice to see you. So that's an orbital sander. You can also get a belt sander, which uses sandpaper like this, and it's on a belt, so it goes around and around and around. And this is like the shotgun version. It's the strongest, and it will take off just about anything, especially when you combine really coarse, low number grit sandpaper with a belt sander. I like to use the orbital sander because I think it does a great job, and it's a little bit easier on my joints. And to remove paper, to remove stain and so forth, I use an 80 grit. Now, if you don't know what grit is, it's not a southern dish, but it is. So many of you probably already know this, but I'll just cover it really quickly in case you don't. So sandpaper comes in grit, and it has to do grit numbers. It has to do with how coarse the sandpaper is. So, and it's an inverse relationship, meaning that the lower the number, the more coarse it is. So the lowest coarse I think you can go, for all intents and purposes like this, is like a 40. And then you can go to 60, 80, 120, 220, 240, on up. And when you want to remove something, you're going to want to use a really coarse lower number grit, so like an 80 or a 60. And then as you make the wood smoother and less coarse, you're gonna move up in your numbers. So then you're gonna go to like a 220. Little known fact that, you know, magic erasers, the thing that you use on your walls to get off like Sharpie markers and all that good stuff, that's actually really just very, very, very high number, very fine grit sandpaper. And that's why it's just sanding off what's on your wall. So anyway, I sanded this down to bare wood using, like I said, an 80 grit sandpaper. And it took a while. It just, you got to work through all the layers of stuff that's been on there years after year after year after year. Once I got down to the bare wood, I cleaned it off with mineral spirits. And I've got, sorry, I didn't have this out, mineral spirits. So I just got this at Ace Hardware, and you're going to want to use, put gloves on and just clean it, put it on a clean rag and just wipe it off, wipe it on and then wipe it off. And that's gonna get all the extra dust particles and dirt that's on there. Hi, Jessica! And that's gonna get everything off to clean, have it be clean for your stain. Okay, so sand, and then you're going to use mineral spirits, and you're gonna let that evaporate a little bit so it's not too wet. Then the third step is to prepare the wood. Now this is a very important step not to be skipped. And you're going to want to use, hold on, I already put it away, but I'll get it again. Pre-stained wood conditioner. And I use Minwax, and what this does is it conditions the wood and prepares it for staining so that you don't get blotchy, lumpy, uneven color. And this is particularly important when you're using a softwood like pine. This is an oak, so it's a little bit harder, but I still use it because it's going to be, I don't want it to look bad. And I want it to suck up the stain evenly. So what you do, again, you can wear gloves. I don't think you necessarily have to with this, but pop off the top and use a clean staining rag, which I'll show you here. I know this is kind of a basic thing, but make sure that you get lint-free staining rags, because if they've got lint in it, the lint's gonna pill off, and it's gonna either get stuck in the stain or stuck in whatever it is that you're using, and you don't want that on your finish. So I buy lint-free staining rags that are recycled from old t-shirts from Amazon, so you're not wasting stuff. So you dip it in here like this and you just rub it on, and then you want to let it sit for 15 minutes before you put your stain on, and a little bit longer if you're in an environment like this where it's a little bit more damp. So, and you can leave it on for a couple of hours before you can wait a couple of hours before you apply stain, but don't wait much more longer than that, because then it will evaporate and you'll have to reapply it. So don't put it on and then wait till the next day to put on the, anyway, I lost my train of thought. Don't wait. Okay, so once you have that on, now I've already done a coat because, like I said in my earlier, I've done this tutorial already once today. So this already has one layer of stain on it, but I'm going to put on a second layer, and I'm going to show you just a technique for how to properly apply stain. Now these rags generally are pretty long, and a little trick I like to use, I'm going to grab my scissors here. I cut the rag in half because if the rag is too long, you're going to have like a tail on it. And you know, you'll bunch it up like this, and then you'll be staining, and this end is gonna inevitably pick up stain, and it's gonna put stain back down where you don't want it, or you're gonna get it on your hands. So I cut it in half. Saves my money too. I fold it up a couple of times and just make sure it's kind of bunched up in your hand like this. Now I'm gonna wear gloves because I don't like getting stain on my hands. Okay, but before I do so, I want to talk about stain really quick. There are two types of stain that you can get: oil-based and water-based. I hands down always use oil-based because although water-based stain dries faster, oil-based stain is going to give you a richer color. It's going to be longer lasting, and it's going to go, I think, on, again, it's going to have a deeper, richer, more dense color. Let me show you really quick. I did this little, I am not as prepared as I was earlier today. I did a little demo for you. Hi, Stacy. Can you guess which one is water-based and which one is oil-based? Any guesses? Well, I guess my right and your left would be different, but this one is water-based and this one is oil-based. So you can see the difference in color. These are exactly the same color, just difference in the base. So that's my preference, and I don't mind waiting for it to dry a little bit longer to get the effect that I want. So, okay, so now that we know what kind of stain to use, what I'm using on this product is Minwax. Minwax is usually oil-based, and the Rust-Oleum is usually water-based, depending on what store you go to. You can tell I've used this a lot. It's one of my favorite colors. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Okay. Now with stain, you don't want to, hi Bryn. You don't want to shake your stain. You always want to stir it. So I'm going to, I think this is still wet, so I'm just going to stir my stain here. Paint you can shake, although I still like to stir paint because you can get a lot of stuff at the bottom that doesn't come up and then it changes the color. So, and you want to shake any stain, polyurethane, mineral spirits, anything that's clear, like that's not paint. You want to stir. Okay. I'm actually amazed that I found a right-handed glove and a left-handed glove. I always seem to just find lefts. I don't know where all the rights go. I think they go with the sock monster. But anyway, okay. So take your rag, make sure that there's nothing hanging down, and you're just gonna wanna dip it in there, but don't, and dab off any excess. You don't want to have a whole lot on there. So when you apply it, you're gonna wanna go in 2 or 3 inch sections wide, and you want to go with the grain of the wood. So the grain on this table goes from in this direction, and you're going to want to go the whole length of the piece of furniture. So you don't want to go back and forth like this because it's going to deposit the stain in uneven increments or uneven areas on your table, and you want to get a consistent, smooth application of your color. So you're going to want to go all the way from one end to the other in strips of 2 to 3 inches. So I'm just going to demonstrate that right here. So like this and back. Now, If you want to leave it on, you can leave it on 3 to 5 minutes to have it penetrate the wood. If you want a really, really rich dark color. In this case, she wants a little bit of a lighter walnut, so I'm going to go ahead and just take off the excess right now. Like that. And then I'll reapply. So back and forth in long strokes. Long application. Now on the edge, you want to make sure that you clean up the edge here because it's gonna this is the way that this type of wood on the edge is going to soak up stain is different than on the top. I know that sounds weird, but it's the way that the grain is. So when you put stain on the side, you want to make sure that you are even and consistent too, so you're not leaving like drip marks on the side. If that makes sense. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Does that make sense? Okay. Hi, Marcy. Okay, so long strokes. Don't be afraid to leave it on for a little bit, and it goes on dark like this. Okay, then I'm going to go back and wipe it off. Okay. Again, I'm cleaning up the sides here. Okay, for those of you who just joined us, I did I've broken up this tutorial into a couple sections. Right now I'm doing the stain piece. There is also a segment on how to chalk paint and prepare your furniture for chalk paint. And that is in 2 segments, not on purpose, but I lost connection. So I will post that to my page here in just a second when I'm done. So if you want to watch the very, very, very basics of chalk painting, I will post that as well. So, okay. All right. Sometimes it helps to stand up to get your reach. I just posted this on Muckle to Your Moms, and Bryn, one of your friends, who I don't know who she was. She said she was a friend of yours. Jumped on and watched. I will have to tell you her name in a little bit when I remember. Okay, so I know this is kind of boring to watch me do this, but it's not very big, so I will be done soon. And I wish you could see the difference that a second coat makes. So you can put 1 or 2 coats of stain on a piece. I mean, heck, you could put as many as you really want, but really you only need 1 or 2. And it's just really preference as to what color you want and how translucent you want it to be, and how dark and rich you want the color to be. So when you want to let it dry, you want to follow the instructions on the can for how long it takes to dry. I don't have my glasses on, but I think this can says 2 to 3 hours. And what I've said before is, given the humidity today because it's raining and the temperature, it's going to take longer to dry. Now, if I was inside, it would dry a lot faster. However, I do not recommend that because the fumes are not great for your health. and I would not want you inhaling them. And that's, if at the beginning of this broadcast I talked a little bit about why I sand instead of using chemical strippers, and again, it's just really bad for your health. And you can't see this now, but I'm in my paint bay, my garage, and it's very well ventilated. If I have to use paint or stain inside, or a paint with a high VOC, I have a ventilator mask that I wear, and they're $35. And highly recommend that you get one if this is something you want to do on an ongoing basis, because it is not worth your health to take shortcuts. So, okay. Let's see if there are any questions. Stirred, not shaken. The reverse of a martini. Amen to that. I should, you know, that would make a little great, I could have like a martini review while I paint. I think that's a fabulous idea. Okay. Shaken, not stirred. Makes me want to watch James Bond. Are you guys old James? Who is your favorite James Bond? Let's have that discussion, because it's very important. Was it Sean Connery, or Pierce Brosnan, or who else? What other? Okay, help me out here. Who are the James Bonds? I can't remember besides Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery. My memory doesn't serve me on this one. Okay. There's a little chip here that I'm gonna have to get in. So, there's that. Okay, so I'm going to go over this one last time, wipe off any excess. Okay. Good. Okay. That is done. Thank you. Daniel Craig, Roger Moore, David, I don't know that one. Who's your favorite? I like Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery. Those are my three favorite in that order. I liked the rawness of Daniel Craig, and the most recent ones seems more human, which I kind of like. Plus, he's not bad to look at either. Okay. Now, we're going to wait for that to dry. Well, we won't, but I will. When you are done, again, the type of finish you put on wood is going to vary dependent on your usage. Now, because this is a coffee table, it's going to get lots and lots of use. And Sean's my favorite. Yes, I know. Okay. It's that British accent. Well, they all have British accents, but he just, yeah. I'm with you, Mercy. Okay, so because it's going to get a lot of use, I like to put a lot of coats of polyurethane on it, but I don't want to wait, like, do it like 3 or 4 times. So I use a product called Triple Thick Polyurethane, which I will grab and show you. Excuse me. It's by Varathane. Looks like this. And it comes, I always prefer satin. You can use satin, or you can use gloss or whatever you want. But I don't put this on first. Reason being, for whatever reason, if you don't put it on really thin enough, it can pull the stain and it can bubble, and it can, for lack of a better word, it can like make your surface spotty and blotchy again. And again, you don't want that. So my little trick of the trade is to get this and polyurethane, the single coat. So this is a fast dry time water cleanup. I put 1 coat of the regular stuff on first, let that dry, and then I bring in the big guns and I put the triple thick on, so that there's a layer between the triple thick and the actual stain. And I find that works really, really well. I have a buffet myself upstairs, and I've done it, and it holds up to watermark. I mean, like wet. Not that I make it a practice to put hot mugs or anything like that on my buffet, but I have, and it hasn't left a ring. So I'm really, really happy with that. So once you would let this dry, single coat first, let it dry, and then triple thick. Now you can use a brush or a cloth. Again, I prefer to use a lint-free rag. And the reason I like rags better than brushes is I feel like it gives me more control over my stroke, and with how much it applies or not, and it doesn't leave brush strokes. I personally don't like brush strokes, so that alleviates the brush stroke if you're using a rag. So I think that is it. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer right now? If so, put them in the comments and I'll see them pop up. Hi, Janet. You're up late. I think that's it. So if you think of something tonight when you're trying to sleep, or when you know, anytime really, shoot me a message or put it in the comments, and I'll see it pop up, and I can certainly help you out as much as I can. So again, for those of you who joined us late, I'm going to post part 1A and part 1B on the chalk painting version of end of part of this project. And then if you put them all together, you'll get the whole project. So have a great night, you guys. I think I covered everything. If not, you can go like my page, or you already have liked my page if you're seeing this, but if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, you can go to www.reviveheartandhome.com and sign up to get on the list for my upcoming ebook called How to Choose Paint Colors the Easy Way. So, all right, have a good night, you guys. Bye, Marcy. Bye, Janet. Bye, Bryn. Bye, everybody.